Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 121.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
Okay, so if you are out there today, you're in the U.S., you're probably looking forward to eating something really good if you're not already doing that. So for those of you visiting for the first time, my name is Jay. I'm your host. I'm glad to be here. Hopefully you are too. And one of the things that is true for me is that on the day after Thanksgiving, typically known as Black Friday in the U.S., one of the things that happened for me was that I played a board game by the name of Cashflow by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, etc. for the first time. My wife and I played, and it just sent us in a completely different direction. And ever since, we've never been the same. So clearly, we're going to be doing that tomorrow for sure out here in the local area. We're going to be doing that tomorrow in the local area. If you want details on how you can participate, either, like I said, live or online, you're going to want to go over to cashflowdiary.com, go to our events tab, and you'll be able to get the information there. Now, here's something extra special. When you go over to cashflowdiary.com, one of the things that you're going to see is that we are doing a giveaway. That's right. We are giving away a copy of the Cashflow game. In fact, technically, we're giving away 5 copies of the game to individuals who enter the giveaway. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy anything. Void where prohibited, all that good stuff. You know what I mean. Go ahead and go over to cashflowdiary.com if you want to win a copy of the very game that I've used as a tool, that you could use as a tool, that began to change the lives of so many. I'm not the only one. You can go over to cashflowdiary.com and begin to enter the giveaway so that you can have your shot as well. So now, guess what we're going to do? In celebration for more or less, let's see, it's been almost, it's about 11 years. 11 years since the first time I played the game, which I think is amazing in and of itself. So what we're going to do is I've got a recent game that I was hosting or facilitating, I should say, up in the LA, Woodland Hills, California area that I just want to share with you. Some have said it was the best they've ever seen me do. I don't know, but I know this. I know that you will be able to learn a thing or two and hopefully begin to increase your cash flow as well. Let's get started.
How many of you are familiar with the day after Thanksgiving? What is that day usually called? Everybody knows that. I love it. That's exactly how I started playing. It was a Black Friday. I was an employee because Black Friday, do you have anything to do? Unless you want to be one of those people who like to get up really, really early, there's not a whole lot to do, right? You know, you've got that Thanksgiving hangover. So you're still dealing with all that turkey. And what happened is a friend said, hey, why don't you come over to our house and we've got food and there's a board game. Well, I am a sucker for board games. My wife likes food, so that we were like, sure, we're in. That was it. There was no more discussion necessary. And what happened is that they introduced us to this very board game. We went over to their house about 6 p.m. We left at around 4 a.m. Now, we will not be here that long today. Okay? But what happened is that an idea grabbed hold of me. There was an idea that this game planted in my head that I had never been taught before. I was taught that I had to go to school, get good grades, and end up with a job. How many of you heard or got that same email? Right? You got that same email. And how many of us have also figured out that that doesn't exactly work? At least not the way you intended it. And that's my concern. And this game began to be the lesson that taught me that there's another way. See, growing up the way I grew up, you're taught, hey, if you want to make it, you gotta play a sport, you gotta bounce a ball, you gotta sing a song, or you gotta play with white powder. You know what I'm saying? Those are one of the 3 things that you gotta do if you're gonna quote unquote make it. And if you're not gonna do that, then you better go to school, get good grades, and get a job. Some of you are still white powder. What is that? See, y'all didn't grow up that way. That's all. That's all. We just got different frames of references. That's all I'm saying. All right. But that was the path that was laid out for me. That was given to me for free. Here's the way you can make something happen. Everything that I've learned since then requires additional investment, usually of time, money, etc. Definitely blood, sweat, and tears. And over the past, few years, we've had the fortune. At this moment, we have a little over 350 units in many different states. It's 1 cell phone tower, a commercial building, and we're building a resort internationally as well. In fact, speaking of the resort, it's in a country by the name of Belize. How many of you have heard of it? How many of you have not? How many of you have noticed I ask lots of questions? Excellent. And I'm going to show you why it's important that you participate with the questions in a second. And I'm going to introduce you to Belizean hardwoods later as we talk today. But for now, what's important to understand is that my job today is to plant that same idea in your head. That what you've been hoping to have happen for you can happen. And I believe that this game and that the individuals in this room who invited you here today are the key to you being able to step through and become a completely different you, because that's exactly what happened for me. 30 days after playing the game, we opened our first stock account. 60 days after that, my wife, guys, sometimes you just got to admit she's right. My wife picked a particular stock that went up literally 1,000%, and we were on our way. We're like, what? This stuff works? It's for real? It can happen for us? Because see, one of the lessons that I got growing up is that wealth is for them, not me. Does that make sense? And one of the things that I had to learn is that words like wealth is for everyone. So here's one of the many things that I want you to get used to is understanding that wealth is for you. And when you hear someone or me specifically, especially today, say that, your response is, that means me. So when I say words like wealth is for everyone, your response is, yes, that means me. Do we understand how this works? Okay, so wealth is for everyone? Exactly. How many people have ever told you that that meant you? See, and this game was one of the first ones that did that for me, and I hope to do the same for you. My goal today, one of my many goals, is to make sure that you leave here smarter than you came. Now, for some of you, that's going to be very easy for me, and for others of you, it's going to be very, very hard. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I accept the challenge. When you're looking at is what is called the cash flow quadrant. Now, who here brought their kid that is not yet in high school? Did we have anyone in that situation? Or not yet in high school or college? Okay. All right, got it. Here's my point is that sometimes when I share this information, people change their entire direction of life. They go from, ooh, this is what I want to do, to why am I going to college anyway? And just be prepared for that conversation if necessary. So at the end of the day, you've got the 4 individuals in business, the E, the S, the B, and the I. The E is the employee. This person you are very familiar with. They work, and their time and money are directly tied together. That if they don't work, they don't get paid. They work, their hours and their income are 100%. It's a linear 1-to-1 relationship. The self-employed person, they tend to have clients. They tend to think, oh, I make $200 an hour, $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, whatever it is. And they tend to think in clients. Also think about doctors, attorneys, and other salespeople or self-employed individuals. The B is the business owner. And this is the one of many things you're going to want to write down today. What the business owner does differently is that he or she owns and controls the means of production. The means of production. What does that mean? That means whether they are present or not, a business produces a product or service that benefits their customer and for a profit. It's one of the major reasons I love the things that we can do with paper assets, real assets, etc., is because there's a way to use them to generate what is typically known as passive or residual, or sometimes, many different types of income that doesn't require your physical labor in order for you to get paid. And that's one of the main tools that you're being introduced to today in a tactical way that you could have the benefit of. And I'm going to show you how that works as the game. And then the I, investor. The investor, here's the interesting thing. The investor uses their money. They want their money to go out into the marketplace and come back with a few more friends. That's it. That's really what they are doing. But you know what they're looking for? They're looking for the person who has a system that can do that. And here's something that I learned. When you look at this, the E, the S, and the B, and the I, the E, who are they looking for? What are they looking for? They're looking for a job. Where do they find that job? Who has it? On this, who's the person that has the job? This person. Got it. So that attorney, that mortgage broker, the person who is looking for those high-end clients where they get paid a whole bunch of money, who typically is that person that has the need for those high-end legal services and all that stuff? The B. Okay, excellent. And so the person here, the investor, they don't really want to run anything. They just want their money to go out there and be controlled by someone who has a system and receive checks passively on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. Who's the person that does that for them? Isn't it not also the same person, the business owner? But yet we go to school, we're told to get good grades, and we end up with a job, and we're taught how to be job takers, not job makers. And that's the part of the problem. And what we're going to learn today is the beginnings of how you become a job maker at the end of the day. You say there's not enough of whatever in the marketplace, it's because it's up to you and I, the entrepreneurs of the world, to be able to go out there and make this thing happen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition into teaching you how to play this game. Most importantly, I'm going to teach you what I like, how to win. How many of you like to win? How many of you prefer to lose? Nobody? Excellent. Glad to hear it. Just want to make sure. Now, there you have a page inside your packet that looks like... where'd it go? You have a page that looks like the cone of learning. It's the second page. It should look like this. Do you see that page? It should be the second page. Now, as you look at that, cone of learning looks like this, okay? And first of all, note at the bottom, they've known this since 1969. Some of you have been around since then. That means it's not new knowledge. But investing is a skill. Because it's a skill, that means it can be learned. You don't learn skills by just watching a book or watching something on TV. How many of you know how to tie your shoe? No, seriously. How many of you know how to tie your shoe? Okay, excellent. Did you learn that by downloading an ebook? No. Okay, good. Hey, I don't know. Was it a video course? Was it a weekend boot camp? It was right? And what happened is that mommy or daddy sat down and showed you how to make the one rabbit hole and the little rabbit hole, and it goes through do you get my point? And you go through that. Did you do that one time and get it straight? No. 2 times. No, you did it until you got it. It didn't matter how many times. Make sense? Investing's the same way. You don't try it once and go, ooh, that didn't work, and then I just quit and run home. You do it until you get it. Okay? And here's the point. In order to grasp a skill, you must remember it from the time you've learned it. So when you look at this piece of paper, we tend to remember 10% of what we read and 20% of what we hear. So if all you do was read and hear, you at best remember 20% of something. Now, when you were in school, what did they spend the majority of time doing? Telling you to read and talking at you. Now, that should make some of us feel a little bit better about our grades. Yes? You're like, no wonder, I had no shot. I could only remember 20% at best. And here's the point. My goal today is to make sure that when you leave, You remember 2 weeks from now what happens today, because that's what begins to change you. So what does that mean? That means I've got to move you up the cone of learning. Let's see how we're doing so far. You got to look at pictures. Have we looked at any pictures? Yes. And you'll be looking at pictures as you continue to play the game. What's that next one? It says watching a movie. Did we not do that? Even if it was only for 3 minutes, it was quickly there. Watching a demonstration, seeing it done on location. This is a place you can come to obtain that additional financial knowledge that you need and see it done on location. That's what's done inside these walls. Look at what happens once we begin to participate in a discussion. 70% of what we say, we tend to remember. Wow. How many of you are willing to admit that you're like me and you can't stand speaking in public? You're like, you don't like that? Not really. Okay. Well, here's the point. I'm going to have you speaking in public today. Yay. They're like, oh, no. See, she's shaking her head. I like it. She's like, no, I'm not. She didn't even realize she was doing it. She's like, you don't know me. I ain't doing that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I'm going to show you it's not as bad as you think, okay? Giving a talk also helps you remember. What does that mean? That means I'm learning too. It's one of the reasons I love it. One of the best ways to learn anything is to teach it, period. One of the best ways to learn it, teach it. Then when we get into the 90% range, we got doing a dramatic presentation and, more importantly, simulating the real experience. Is anyone here affiliated with our military or armed services in any way, shape, or form? Awesome. First of all, thank you for your service. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is, I think, how it works. When they go, okay, cool, I want to be a part of the military, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign up, and then the next day they hand me a well-functioning assault rifle. That's how that works? Is that how that works? Okay, I got it. No, I'm going to sign up for the Air Force. Okay, cool, I'm in today. Tomorrow I get to operate and fly an F-16. Is that how that works? No. There's a process that it goes through, and at a minimum, what are they going to participate in? A simulation. At least once, or a whole lot of hours first? A whole lot of hours. How fast can you put your gun together? How many times can you stay up way too late and still function properly with bullets whizzing by your head? How before we give them access or control to a multi-billion-dollar piece of equipment, weapon of destruction, we put them through a simulator. Yet, for some reason, when it comes down to trying to be an investor, we think we can stay up late one night, buy a book for $19.95, have it come, and then go, boom, I got it. I know what's going on. Seriously. No, you've never had any practice, but you think you know it all and you got it. And worse, you think you can do it alone. You're like, I got this. I've never done it, but it's going to be okay. You know, how many of you have ever been at that house the first time that new person cooked the turkey on Thanksgiving? And you were like, oh, God. And you're trying to beg grandma, please cook the turkey because we don't want her to do it. You know what I'm saying? But yet we do this with our money all day long. You've never cooked the turkey, but you're like, yeah, I can do this. And you put tens of thousands of dollars at risk without understanding exactly what's going on. And then someone comes along and offers you an opportunity for some guidance, and you're like, I don't need that. Really? That boggles my mind. Boggles my mind. My point is, because this game simulates the real life, what's going to happen is that you're going to remember a lot. My intent today is to make sure that you remember a lot. My intent today is to literally be that voice in your head the next time you are at the grocery store buying bread. And you're like, God, I can't get rid of him. Because if I can influence where you place your dollar, what'll happen is that you will make small degrees of change today, which maybe 6 years from now, you're the one up here teaching a room full of people what it is that needs to be changed, that will help them be able to realize the things that they've always wanted. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? That's what I get excited about. That's why I continue to do it. That's what's way exciting for me. Now, yeah, do I intend to continue to purchase real estate? Yeah, my goal for many of you, you know this already, is to get to 1,000 units and 1 million square feet of commercial space and finish my resort. That's it. So, yeah, we're going to do those things. But what gives me way more fulfillment is helping people here make small incremental changes, whoever that's going to be. And I don't know who you are, but I know that someone in here was ready for this change, and that's why I came today. And if you think you're ready, say, I'm ready. I'm ready. Excellent. So here we go. When it comes to money, the greatest asset is your financial knowledge. Most importantly, what I want you to do is I want you to look at the board game or this sheet of paper. What you see on the outside is called the fast track. It is called the fast track. So the outside circle, that is the fast track. The inside circle is the rat race. The outside is the fast track. The goal is to get out of the rat race and land into the fast track. That is your number one goal. In order to do that, what you must do is that you must have your passive income be greater than or equal to your total expenses. You're like, where's that at? Turn to the third, it should be the third page in your packet. Okay? And this is a basic income statement and balance sheet. Is anyone in here CPA, accountant, anything like that? Yes? Excellent. What is it, Susan? Awesome. This is a very, very basic one, is it not? Like hyper basic. She's like, yeah, you have no idea. It's laughable to her how basic this is. But for me, back in 93, this was the first time I had seen one. Never seen one, didn't know about it. How many of you have noticed? How many of you have actually passed the high school level? Yes, you've done that. Excellent. And has anyone ever asked you for your report card since then? No, they just stopped caring. But many times they start asking, how much do you earn and what do you owe? Right? And you're like, I don't know. You tell me, right? And what they're asking for is your income statement and balance sheet. But yet many of us don't keep score properly. We don't even know how to look at them. And that's what we're going to learn today, part of it. So we're going to simulate the real experience. As you look at the board game, you see the fast track. When you were 8, 9, 10, 18, 28, 30, how many of you said, I want to go? Here's what I want to do. Here's my life plan. I want to take 60 hours of my week, every week of my life, be told when to go to lunch, when to go to the bathroom, when to show up, when to go to sleep, how long I can go on vacation, if I can go on vacation. Mind you, I've got to apply for a vacation faster than the person sitting next to me. Otherwise, we can't both go at the same time. How many of us said that I can't wait for all of that to happen so that I can hopefully apply for a 3% raise and be denied over and over again because the person next to me who does half the work I do actually gets the raise that I wanted? How many of you said that that's what you were looking for? Okay, good. Is that something of an accurate description of what you experienced, though? Yeah. That's unfortunate. What it does tell me, though, is that when you first started out, you had a dream that had nothing to do with most of what you're currently experiencing. And we're going to simulate the real experience. So here's what I need you to do. On your table, there are a number of rats. Those rats have colors, and they have a cheese. They should have a color and a cheese. They pick a color and a rat. That is the cheese. You take the cheese, hear me clearly. You take the cheese and you look on the outside track. On the outside track are pink squares. What color? Pink squares. Place your cheese on one of the pink squares. Any one, doesn't matter. Begin.
Okay, so as you can see there, I'm walking them through the getting started of the game. You're like, man, there's a lot of little details and there's a lot of little stuff, and you're absolutely right. Now, if that was more, if you are thinking to yourself, man, I wish I had an opportunity to walk through one of these, but I'm nowhere near California. Again, that's why you want to go over to cashflowdiary.com/events, or just go to our events tab at cashflowdiary.com. And what'll happen is you'll have the information to be able to watch tomorrow's game, because we are going to be streaming it as well to many places. I've heard from people as far away as Spain, and I'm just like, wow, this is kind of cool. So you'll be able to watch it, but you're going to need to go over to the events tab to get the information so that you have the ability to join us as we go through this particular process. Again, one more time, love doing it. Also, just a reminder, I said this earlier. You heard me say this early on this particular episode. However, I'm going to remind you, you want to go over and participate into the giveaway. It's at cashflowdiary.com. You'll see the little pop-up. It'll go boom, hey, click it. And when you click the pop-up, it'll take you to the entry. Here's the thing. I don't know if you've noticed, but the Rich Dad Company has re-released a new version of the Cashflow game, and that's exactly what we're giving away. We're not giving away the old version, okay? We're giving you the new version. So even if you think, hey, I've got it already, you might not yet. So you probably want to get over to cashflowdiary.com, enter the giveaway, and see if you could be one of those 5 individuals who get to walk away with a new copy of the Cashflow board game by the Rich Dad Company. Let's finish this particular episode with some more from that particular Cashflow game so that you can hopefully see how you might be able to go out there, educate some friends. Remember, we educate to dominate, and this is one of the ways that you can do it.
So just like in real life, though, the first thing you did is you had a dream. You wanted to do something. You wanted to be something, right? And you just now picked that for the entirety of the game. But however, in real life, continuing to simulate the real experience now, here's what happens. You go to school, you get your grades, whether they're good or not, different story, but you get your grades, and you end up with a what? A job. So there's a banker at your table. Bankers, here's what I need you to do. I need you to take the occupation cards. And what we're going to do is we're going to simulate for everybody how most people picked their job. This is exactly how you did it. Bankers, I need you to take the occupation cards, turn them upside down, shuffle them, and hand them out randomly. Because that's how you got the job you got right now, isn't it? It was just random. You're like, hey, this is great. Whatever it is, shuffle and hand them out randomly. I want to give you a quick lesson. At the top of your occupation card, there is a number, okay? But also, look at your dream for a second. When you look at your dream, there's a number under it. Tell me what that number is. Shout them out. 200,000. What? 150. What else? 100,000. 225. 250. Excellent. Now that you know how much your dream costs, here's what I want you to do. Look at your salary on your occupation card. Some of you chuckle. I love that. You're like, ha, ha. Great. All right. Here's the lesson. You're going to want to hear this. When you start out in life, you have this dream, you don't even care what the cost is because most of you chose it without looking at it. You just looked at the title. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Boom, done. That's how you did it. And then you learned later how much that would cost to do. And then you looked at your bank account or your paycheck and you made one of 3 decisions. You said, ooh, what I want is up here, but I make things down here. Oh, that's just never going to happen. And you quit. That's decision number 1. Decision number 2, you go, ooh, what I want is up here. What I make is down here. And you go, I don't need a vacation. I don't need that car. You're going to pay for your own college. Is that, and then until you keep whittling this down until it matches close enough and you go, okay, that's just where we are. Decision number 3, you go, ooh, that's up here. I'm down here. There's some people who get these things, so maybe I should read a book and play a game and find out what they're doing and maybe do what they're doing, and eventually you get to the point where, oh, that's what it takes in order to make that happen. And that's what this game is going to teach you how to do. Because some of you, when you look at your occupation title, how many of you are willing to admit you had a negative reaction? You looked at it, you were like, I don't like this. Keep your hand up. What was the title? Mechanic. Janitor. Truck driver. Nurse. There's lots of jokes about male nurses. What that? Truck driver. Police officer. Business manager. Janitor. Why does janitor always get the rap? That's messed up. Pilot. He doesn't want to be a pilot. Okay. How many of you, when you looked at your job title, you went, awesome, this is exciting. Excellent. Keep your hand up. What did you get? Doctor. Hold on. He just said airline pilot and he wasn't happy and you're happy with it. That's interesting. What's that? And he's at military. I got experience. You don't understand. This is kind of good. Excellent. Who else? You liked your job. What did you get? Doctor. Excellent. Sorry. Anyone else from over this table? Oh, wow. How did we get all the ladies at one table? What's up with that? Well, all right. Cool. All right. Anyone from that table? What did you get that you liked or didn't like? You didn't like it or like it? You did like it. Excellent. Yes. Nurse, how old are you? Yes. 15. Y'all are going to be jealous by the time we're done of everything he learns today. Excellent. Here's my point. You realize we've got people who have the same job. You're reacting to a title. Has nothing to do with anything. You're just reacting to a title. What does it mean at the end of the day? Did anyone get janitors and excited about it? I'm just curious. Yeah. Okay. Did anyone get teacher and is it excited about it? No? Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Cool. Here's the thing that I love about this game is that it teaches so many small little things like that oftentimes we're chasing a title for no apparent reason whatsoever. And at the end of the day, it ends up strangling us and we don't even know why. All right. So as a review, let me go through. Here's how you play this game, guys. It's a lot. Oops, I went the wrong way. Sorry. I just realized that. I'm like, hey, that's the beginning. You're going to start in the rat race. That's at the circle. As you go around the rat race, you're going to roll dice and land on squares. When you land on those squares, you get the privilege of making a decision. That decision is going to be completely up to you. When you land on the green squares, they're opportunities. Small deal or big deal, your choice. When you land on the market square, you pick up the market card and you read it. Your choice on what to do with it. When you land on the doodad, you must do what it says. Period. Sorry. And then you've also got downsize. You've got baby. Every time you pass paycheck, you get paid. Congratulations. Hear me clearly. Many of you, you're going to make the wrong decisions. That's okay. This is the place where you do that. When you're in an airplane, would you rather crash when it's real or in the simulation? Everybody gets that right. But for some reason, when you play this game, you get afraid to crash. It's a game. Okay? The money in your hand is not real. Okay? So understand that as you go through this process, because we want to help you associate the money habits you currently have with the things that are going to change your financial future. And this game has the ability to do that. One more lesson and we will get started. When you look at that sheet and you see passive income and your total expenses, your passive income being greater than your total expenses, who was those individuals that got janitor? Raise your hand. Who are the janitors? What are your total expenses? $950. So the janitor is at $950. Who got doctor? Doctor, excellent. Raise your hand. Perfect. Doctors, what are your total expenses? $9,650. So that means in the same 30 days, one person spends $950 to live, and the other spends $9,650 to live. Make sense? That's how this sheet is to be used. Now, remember, the goal is to have your passive income be greater than or equal to your total expenses. So, doctors, janitors, everybody, when you look at your passive income, what is that number right now? 0. So let me ask you this question, and I need you to think here. If we only measured in dollars, who has more work to do, the janitor or the doctor? The doctor. They've got more dollars that they need to generate passive income-wise to make this work. Now, if we measured as a percentage of total income, who has more work to do, janitor or doctor? Percentage of total income. Because right now, the doctor has 0% in passive income. The janitor has 0% passive income. so the playing field is level. The lesson there is that it doesn't really matter what you do right now. It's the decisions you make once you learn this information that's going to change your situation. Not about how much money you make. Many of you are thinking right now, if I had more money, I'd have less problems. Wrong. No one in this room, on this planet, in my world that I am aware of, has a money problem. Every one of us have an idea problem. I'll continually prove that to you as we go. It's the decisions you make once you get under and understand this that are going to make or break your ability to get out of the rat race. I don't want you thinking, oh, if I was a doctor, I totally would have won. Oh, if I was a janitor, I totally would have won. Although that one might kind of be true. And you'll understand that as the game goes on. But understand this. If you have no passive income, everybody's at the same spot. They got to stay in the rat race. They got to sit in traffic and go to work and do what they got to do to eat. Interestingly enough, we start out in life on one side of the world, and then all of a sudden we see that the grass is over there and it looks a little green. And we say to ourselves, you know what? I'd like to be over there. That would be fun. You know, that looks like fun. You know what I'll do? I'll start walking that direction. But for some reason, we keep trying to hold on to the place where we are. And then we're wondering, how come I can't make it? You're not going to get there until you let go. And now you're like, this is scary. I can't touch what's familiar. You can always run back. No one ever said you couldn't. And that's the whole point. As we continue to hold on to what's familiar, it becomes worth less. How many of you are willing to admit you can remember what you were earning in 1974? And today, when 1974, you were thinking, by the time I get to $50,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, we gonna make it, honey. It's gonna be awesome. And then you got there, and you're like, okay, by the time we get to $200,000, $250,000, do you get my point? In 1974, a stamp cost 10 cents. One, to mail a letter. A stamp. Today, what does it cost to mail one letter? What? He's like $1.44. That's 42. Whatever. The point is, it's a stamp. And what did you get? The opportunity to communicate with someone over a long distance of time with a letter. My point is that $1.74 could send 10 letters. Today, you might get 2 if you're lucky. It's still the same dollar. It's not that the price increased. It's that your money purchases less. Failing to understand that and holding on to money means it becomes worth less over time. You must learn to become more financially savvy with the tools you've been given. As I said before, given an expert tool and learning how to use it expertly. One of the greatest things you can avail yourselves of is someone else's ideas. The solutions that you need are in someone else's head. Interestingly enough, we have organized ourselves in such a way that we tend to package those in books and tapes and CDs and appointments, and we will do whatever we've got to do to help you understand that. And that's one of the great things about reading, is that once you get it, you got access to other people's wisdom without having to go through their mistakes. The person who went through those mistakes paid full price for that lesson. And then they offer it to you at a severe discount in the form of a book or an ebook or a complimentary appointment. And you've got to understand that. Environment trumps will every day. Environment trumps will. Some of you, you've been in this environment now for a few hours and you're feeling all charged and excited and you're like, yeah, I can take on the world. And unfortunately, when you leave here, you live in an environment, are related to people in an environment that aren't exactly of the same mindset. They were not here, and that's going to become a battle as soon as you walk through that door. I hope that you are brave enough to get back in your car and take that risk driving to come back to this environment, because without the environment necessary to support you in the goals, it will not be successful. It is very, very challenging to change your particular mindset that has created the results you currently call your experience, and to somehow magically achieve something new. The concept of I'm self-made, total crap. It takes a whole bunch of people. It's taken this man right here, James, to help me learn how to be a better husband. Many times. Late at night. Lots of hours. And I'm still working on it. It's taken that woman right there, LaTanya, to help me not to just want to bail on that whole concept and tell me that it's okay, Jay, you're gonna make it through. That's in marriage, which is important. So is money. So is all of these things that we're talking about today. You can't play this one time and go, I got it, I'm good. I did that. It doesn't work that way. You got to have consistent tune-ups. You don't change your oil in the car one time and go, I'm done with that. You don't put gas in the car one time and go, I did that last week. Why would I need to do it again? I took a bath last year. Great. Could you please find some more water and do it one more time? You don't do those things. But yet for some reason in this situation, we put up these walls as if everything is okay. And yet this game has shown us so many ways in which it's not. And we have to figure out a way to make things better for ourselves. And occasionally we're presented with an opportunity that allows us to do that. And we're like, what am I going to do? And we get scared and we run the other direction. So I have a simple question. It says, based upon what you've learned so far, are you ready to take this game into your reality by a show of hands? Yeah? Is that a yes? Like, this would be awesome if you could do this every day. So to answer the question in your head, some of you are wondering, what does he do? I do this. This is literally what I do. When I check my email, there are opportunity cards that are there. That's what it is. I get it. It's every morning. I don't know what they are. And sometimes when I check my email, it's a doodad card. Right? And sometimes when I check my email, it's a market card. Like earlier this week, I have a 182 unit building. They were like, yeah, these people flew into town. They're looking at your building. They'd like to buy it. I'm like, cool. That's called an opportunity card. They didn't make me an offer that I am liking. So moving on. And some of you received offers in the game. It's like, no, I'm not going to sell. Right? Same thing. Others, this is literally what I do. If you've ever had the privilege of driving around with me in the car, all you hear is this every day. That's all I know how to do is this. Every phone call, opportunity card, doodad. Fortunately, there are no more babies on the schedule. I have enough of those already, right? But this is my life. So here's what I'm saying I should strongly suggest you do. Some of you said to yourselves while playing this game, I should do this in my real life. This is something that I should take action on. And what we've got an opportunity for you to take action, and here it is. You could have an opportunity to learn to invest with many different types of resources. You just don't know that you have them. We're talking about other people's time, knowledge, money, credit, etc. But most importantly, how can you put yourself in a position to invest with what I call a higher financial IQ? Because today, some of you learn financial words like income statement and balance sheet, and you may have never done those before. Most importantly, I want you to see that quote. Because if you don't go after what you want, you will never have it. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. If you don't step forward, you are always in the same place. That's what we have an opportunity to help you with today, is to help you begin to make better decisions. Because that's what was necessary for me to go from squatting in bank-owned property to now the provider of jobs and properties. Does that make sense? Is that it wasn't my own intuition or knowledge. I needed other people's ideas to help me with that. And they want to help you the same. So here's your action step. And you need to learn to move at the speed of instruction. The speed of what? Instruction. That means there's no room for your better idea. It means take action. Here's what that looks like. When you're done, before you go downstairs, you talk to the person that invited you and says, hey, I'd like to meet within the next 24 to 48 hours. What do you have available? And there you go. And then you know what? Magically, you make sure you show up. Because oftentimes we take that first step. Remember, I said you don't leave the scene of a decision without taking measurable action towards it. We take that first step, but then we don't follow through. We make an excuse. And all of a sudden, 48 hours from now, you got to wash your hair. Your cat needs a bath. Is it really laundry day? Like, really? And then you miss out on an opportunity that could move you in the direction you wanted to go. Because some of you, you're like, what is really going to happen today? I don't know. But how many of you are willing to admit that you wish you had more people here today and your friend or your husband was here and you, oh my God, somebody you know should have heard this? That happens every time. And that's my point. The same thing happens for you when you sit down with the individual that invited you here.
So you're probably going, man, that sounds like a very good thing to do for yourself, for your business, just to help people and educate them. And that's one of the things that I get proud of. I mean, I know for a fact that my friends and I, when we were out there working on our resort project, the principles that are learned and taught in the game are part of the principles that we're bringing to the crew to help them. And it's part of what you can do when you're out there making things happen, is make sure that you leave the person better than you found them. And this is one way that I have enjoyed doing it, as you guys know, now for 11 years. So with that being said, one of the things that I just want to remind you is you never know where that next new great idea may come from. I mean, and that's kind of the point, right? Is you only need one new idea. So from one of the episodes that you listen here or any other podcast, all you need is one good idea for that episode to have been worth the investment. I certainly hope that you have found today's investment worthwhile for you. And if you haven't, that's okay. Go hug a family member because you should tell them thank you for something anyway, and it's all good. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Until next time.